Hi, I'm Julia from Aephoria Partners, and I'm going to be talking to you about the specializing level of maturity. So 38% of people in the EU and America fall at this level of maturity. So what happens is we are at that conforming level of maturity, and then we have education, and we get in touch with this idea that being scientific and rational is an appropriate and useful way of operating in the world. And this idea comes in through school and through university education or other kinds of education, that emotions aren't so good. They might interfere in our decision making. They might make us less effective. We might reveal something, or lose our temper, or even worse, we might look vulnerable. So this stage is all about technical expertise, and when people take on jobs, they often take on the kind of role model behavior that's associated with those jobs. For example, if you're in manufacturing, then maybe the spirit of manufacturing or lean manufacturing might then, you might use it right through your life. Or, it's when the logic and the ways of being of your profession start to permeate your home life. When the manufacturing example really comes from someone I worked with who, when I was working as a coach, he said, I do kind of world-class manufacturing at work, and I'm looking for a world-class girlfriend at home. So it was a similar kind of thinking permeating all of his life. So these guys are very technical, they're very input-orientated, they're interested in how you set up processes and create outcomes, but their focus often is on inputs rather than outputs. They're defined by what they know, and there's quite a lot of independence of thought, but it's very much guided by professional norms. Don't think outside the box too much unless that's your job. So let me introduce you to this guy here, who is an example of someone that's specializing. So Imran is the leading program manager on Project Phoenix. His logic and knowledge is legendary, and he loves to argue, especially points of technical detail. He can be quite tough though, expertly deconstructing other people's contributions. He can redo his peers' work, and at times he openly challenges his boss. He wonders why his boss even got the job. Look at that idiot, he couldn't do my job, I don't know how he got the boss job, is what Imran thinks. HR in the organization has really recognized his skill. They want to promote him, but he's a bit of a tricky character. He doesn't take feedback well, and his interpersonal skills are a little bit lacking. He can't seem to understand why people get really emotional when he points out their errors. He thinks people shouldn't get emotional at work. In fact, emotions should stay at home because they cloud decision making. So Imran's a classic person at specializing level. Technical expertise, competent, but also competitive, and quite self-righteous about his experience of the world. People at specializing levels of maturity understand part of the world really well, but they don't understand yet that there's another whole part of the world that they have no real experience of. Critically, these guys are competent, but often can lack a level of emotional competency, focusing on the technical inputs rather than the emotional outputs. Leadership for these guys looks like technical credibility rather than producing and creating a vision that people can follow. So that's Imran. Most people in the world are at this level, and I think it's useful to work with these guys in the following ways. So it's all about technical credibility and how you present ideas. You need to be credible in a technical way to be credible to these guys. It might be useful to toolbox your ideas when talking to these guys. Perhaps even dumbing down reality a little bit and saying things like, you know, maybe there's 5 ways to increase your emotional literacy, or here are the 4 values of emotions. Make ideas clear, be credible, don't be emotional, don't be vague, and you will present an effective way of working with these guys at specializing level.